won it, and then if I use my cards correctly, I can make it good.
We have 2 cameramen up here. One's a wide angle, one's a tight angle, and then we have 2 announcers. So anywhere from 6 to 8 kids.
So they get here at 9 a.m. for a Saturday game, and they get here at 9 a.m. for a Saturday game, and it just takes time to set up, and they put a lot of effort into it, and there's a reason it looks as good as it does.
Scott gonna go up.
A live broadcast is just a lot of teamwork between a whole bunch of different people. We have our announcers who will announce the game and try and fill the dead spaces, and then that can't be done without our amazing camera operators who get every single shot and instinctively know what we want to see, and then our directors and graphics, they know what to expect from those camera operators, and then just the replay guys who know what they're doing.
Every time I put on the headset, I'm trying to make it an understandable broadcast. I'm trying to speak clearly, but as someone I used to play basketball, I used to play football. It's just a way for me to stay connected, and it's my way of expressing my love for the game.
And he's pulled by Hornibet. Up ahead to Woodard, to Edwards, back to Woodard. Woodard puts up a 3. Yes!
I'm really proud of it. I really love that I get to do this. I never thought I was going to be able to do this. When I was in 8th grade, you could have asked me, and I would have thought I would have been in the student section every game, But this is a different type of help, like cheering on my team to me. I feel like, I get to show what the Bombers are doing to everyone.
Oh, so proud. We hold ourselves to a high standard here to try and give the best quality we can.
I'm extremely proud. Every night I go home and I'm like, man, we just did that. You can tell by the community.
The City of Richland has updated its utility rates to help support rising costs of providing emergency medical services and maintaining reliable electric service, including higher wholesale power and operational costs. Effective January 1st, 2026, the daily ambulance service utility fee is 47 cents per day, and electric utility rates have increased by 8.5%. Detailed rate information is available at richlandwa.gov/utility rates. And the City of Richland Parks and Recreation Commission is now accepting applications for its 2026 Park Partnership Program, offering up to $40,000 in matching grant funds to support community-driven improvements to city parks and recreational facilities. The program is designed to support projects to encourage private investment and community participation. More information regarding the program can be found at richlandparksandrec.com/park partnership. That's Richland in a minute. Find more on our website at richlandwa.gov.
I expect your full effort on each one of them.
When times get tough, I fall back on the things that I learned in the high school wrestling room, and that's what I want from our kids. I want them to have that base. I tell all of our kids that wrestling has a place for anybody. Anybody that's willing to come out and work hard and really just put in the time and the energy and the effort. We group you up by weight class. We group you up by ability if you're on the JV. So you don't have to be a 6'2", 280-pound kid to be successful, right?
I love the competition.
Yeah, and it's such a blessing to be here every single day.
And the main thing for me is I love competing with my teammates. I love the amount of effort and just the integrity of our team. We're always working hard. I mean, we're always cheering each other on in practice. In my opinion, I think this team could be one of the better teams in the league this year. I really like how it's looking so far. We're always pushing each other in practice.
I'd say being grateful for the opportunity I've been given. Wrestling has always been there for me, and it's somewhere where I can go and just let it all out. Say I'm not having a good day, practice is where it helps me get through all of that. It helps me have a very confident personality. Like, I used to have terrible mentality, and I think this is what made me a stronger person, have a better mindset about things, and just be more confident in myself and my well-being.
Wrestling like no other sport, just the family atmosphere. Nothing beats wrestling. Nothing beats coming in and grinding it out with your teammates for 2 hours a day. Nothing beats helping pick up a kid after they've had a tough loss by one of your teammates. The wins and losses are great, and everybody's going to remember who wins state, but the reality of it is our job is to help these kids be productive members of our community when they graduate here. And that's the important thing, right? Is holding the kids accountable.
Guys, girls, and I even have some kids that don't even want to compete. They just want to be part of the team. To me, it's the most beautiful thing, man, because, the sport is there for everybody, depending on what their goals are, So I do believe it's for everybody, and we all believe that here.
Our practices have been a really great start. We have a lot of new girls, but it's been really great because everyone works really hard, and even though they might not have as much technique under their belt, a lot of the girls just have a passion for the sport and they really do love it and they want to work hard, and that's, I think, what's helped us start so strong already. And our practices have been going good, everyone's working hard, and we're a close team, so it's been going really good.
I feel like this is the best team we've had in a couple years, honestly. Everyone's working together, it almost feels like a family, it's rather than a team. I'm feeling great about it. It's been hard. The first 2 weeks they were pretty tough. We call it Hell Week, and we try to get everybody who's not really there and mental and who's not ready almost. We get them to that next level. So that way, when the season starts, we're just ready to go.
To me, I think it's the hardest thing a kid can do in high school athletics. I just, it's a grind every day. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose reps. You're gonna lose matches. You're gonna be tired. It just brings out the best in kids. And when they work super hard at things and then see the six do something that is very uncomfortable, very hard, challenges them, brings out the best in them, and I think that carries over well for pretty much anything you do in life. My biggest goal is that the parents feel and see the value in what they see in their kids. The wins are great, losses help you get better, but the goal really is self-improvement for the kids so that it improves the community that they live in. So if our kids learn how to be a better teammate, if they learn to believe in themselves, that's only going to help them when they get out of school, right? So goal for me has never been about winning or losing. It's just about the kids. And I really mean it. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother, because winning and losing is not enough. But helping a kid in their future, that's I think what drives us coaches is, seeing those kids blossom.
What if the experience of downtown Richland was safer, simpler, and more enjoyable? That's the vision behind the Downtown Loop, a project that will figure George Washington Way and Jadwin Avenue into a one-way couplet between Jadwin Avenue and Simon Street. The Downtown Loop includes barrier-separated two-way bike lanes, wider sidewalks, on-street parking, upgraded lighting, and improved pedestrian crossings, all designed to protect and enhance your downtown travel experience. But it's more
in this area. With the continued growth in the Queens Gate district and new commercial developments like Costco, the need for these improvements has become more pressing. As part of that growth, when Costco submitted its permit and paid the required transportation impact fees, it kicked off the funding process for this project. We moved quickly to secure an additional $5 million to fully fund the project in less than a year. The city began design in spring of 2025. This $5.2 million construction project includes intersection improvements and traffic flow upgrades to support both current and future volumes in this area. Our goal is to reduce congestion, improve safety, and support business access as development continues. Improvements include roundabouts at the Dupertale-Kennedy intersection, Dupertale and Vintner Square driveway intersection, widening of the Queensgate and Dupertale intersection, and a median to control access between Kingsgate and Keene. We have a project map available on our website, and we'll share additional visuals as they become available. We plan to construct these improvements starting in spring of 2026. We appreciate your patience as we work through construction. These improvements are an important investment in Richland's future, and we're excited to see the progress take shape. For the latest information, visit www.ci.richland.wa.us and search for the Dupatel Improvements Project. Thanks for staying connected.
It is so fun to be down here and experience the energy that I see going.
You guys put on an amazing race here. You guys put on an amazing race here.
We're rooting on Dave Colbert. He's our father.
We're from Newburgh, Oregon. He's from Denver.
It's really exciting because it's his second Ironman that he's doing.
It's my son's first half Iron. It's very exciting. Is this exciting for you?
Yeah.
This is his first triathlon. We actually came out to see the event last year, and it was so exciting, decided had to sign up for it.
This is his first Ironman. He's been training for a year to do this. He's very excited.
We saw some people coming in on a trail. They're down from Coeur d'Alene, another one from Denver, saw another one from Pennsylvania. It's a lot of fun.
Rooting for PR Performance, my team from the Seattle area, and all kinds of other folks. Oh, here comes Chip! Way to go, Chip! 7th place! 3 minutes to the podium!
I'm helping the videographers. I'm the motorcycle, and there's a guy who's going to be on with me, and he's going to. I'm the motorcycle, and there's a guy who's going to be on with me, and he's going to be taking action shots of the riders. But what's also really cool is to ride in and amongst traffic and on a motorcycle with your hazard lights and see everybody waving and clapping. This is an event as we grow and the Tri-Cities become bigger and bigger in a more metro area. I mean, we've had boat races forever, but to add something like an Ironman event also adds tremendously to the economy with tourism.
Today was great. Today was just an awesome confidence booster this year. Loved the course, loved everything about it. Yeah, heart is so full right now.
Anybody here you want to thank or say hello to?
Thank my mom and dad. They both came from Vegas and Texas. I think you guys crushed it. I think the best races are the ones that you don't notice logistics. And when I'm there and I don't have to think twice about what I'm doing, it's put together really well.
I think the volunteers, everybody that's been helping has been incredibly kind, and they're really encouraging to all the athletes that are doing that. And I think these type of people.
Places and places that you can have a lot of fun for a weekend, and that's one thing that excited me about coming here. So we're gonna go get some wine with my parents and teammates later and really make the most of the area.
I really like this idea of it being a destination, folks able to come here. We have a lot to offer and a lot to see, and it helps define us, and something fun to do.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is...
Well, the city has 54 traffic signals. What we use now is entirely video detection. We set special timings for greens, yellows, and reds, and for pedestrian times. There's kind of two modes of operation for the traffic signals primarily. You can operate a signal as free operation, meaning it's kind of isolated on its own, and it can be very responsive to traffic. And so for customers, that's a great thing if the traffic's low or sporadic. But on a corridor like Keene, we do with turn phases that are potentially busy, and try and fit that all into a consistent cycle, because a coordinated system requires all the signals to have a single cycle, like it might be 90 seconds or 120 seconds or even 150 second cycle. And so if they're not all operating on the same cycle, then you can't have coordination.
Wait to cross Jadwin Avenue at Swift Boulevard.
We are focusing more and more on trying to be more pedestrian and bicycle friendly in the industry and as a whole, and certainly we are trying to do our part. And recently we've added what's called the leading pedestrian interval. to our signals, and what that does is it basically gives the walk sign in advance of the green lights, so that somebody coming from your rear that's turning right, you get a little bit of a head start into the intersection, or even for left turns, you get a little bit of head start in advance of the left turner. A lot of our newer detection can differentiate between a bike and a car. We know it takes a bike a little bit longer to get across the intersection, so the minimum green time might be a little bit longer if we detect a bike specifically.
Said, yes, go ahead and collect that. Yes, go ahead and collect that information. Then it's going to ask some follow-up questions.
Do you want an officer to contact you about this?
No, I just wanted to make sure the dog is okay.
Thanks, Amy Fournier. Is there any other information we should know, like when it tends to start, or if you can see the dog?
And then it creates a synopsis, basically, plus gives a script of all the questions that it asks and all the answers that were given. And then there's a dashboard that the dispatcher will see to review that information and then add it to our computer-aided dispatch program.
If anything changes before they get there, give us a call back for safety dispatch, okay? You're welcome. Bye.
It really reduces, one, the amount of time that they're on the phone, two, the amount of time that people are on hold waiting for a dispatcher to be done with emergency calls, because those will have to come first. And three, makes it a very quick transition from reading what's on the script to putting it into the CAT system. So what may have taken them 2 or 3 minutes before will take maybe 30 to 45 seconds now. So when we're dealing with calls where seconds save lives, it's a big win for us. Dealing with calls where seconds save lives, it's a big win for us.
Hello, I'm Carlo D'Alessandro, Richland's Public Works Director. I'm here at the intersection of George Washington Way, Aaron Drive, Columbia Point Drive, one of the busiest in the Tri-Cities. Starting Tuesday, September 2nd, we'll begin the long-awaited improvements to reduce congestion, improve safety, and make this intersection more accessible for everyone. The project adds a southbound lane, a new left turn lane towards SR 240, upgraded traffic and pedestrian signals, safer ADA accessible sidewalks, and better connections for people walking and biking. During construction, the intersection will remain open, but expect lane closures and limited parking in the area. We'll share updates on the city's website and social media to help you plan ahead. Work is scheduled to finish in late November, and once complete, this intersection
I haven't seen my girlfriends in such a long time, and we really wanted to find some place that was central to all of us.
Tri-Cities was such a great option. It seemed like it had everything that everyone wanted to do.
So we wanted to give it a try.
The weekend trip started off at the winery, my favorite place to go. So many options, wine, grapes, everywhere you look.
I was most looking forward to hiking. That's my favorite thing to do.
The Wallula Gap hike was bright and early in the morning, first thing, but we got to see the sunrise over the water, and it was absolutely stunning. And I actually had never been on an e-bike before. We got to go along the entire waterfront.
The night topped off with some new friends and a delicious dinner with my girls.
I was most looking forward to getting on the river. The Tri-Cities has a ton of water access.
I can't explain how beautiful it was to be up in the air, to just feel on top of the world in that moment with my girls.
I live where it's not super sunny. There's 300 days of sun in the Tri-Cities, so it's really awesome to escape to.
Tri-Cities is definitely the place you want to go.
Witnessed the emergence of a third dimension in warfare, in which the air became a primary theater of operation in addition to the land and the sea.
Allied bombing pilots some of them had very short lives. Right? This was very dangerous work that they were doing, especially the daytime raids. This was very dangerous work that they were doing, especially the daytime raids.
Out of the west, 1,350 American bombers of the 8th Air Force streaked
the plane shot out. My dad told everybody to get their parachutes on and bail out. They handed the parachute to my dad. My dad said, "I'm taking it across." So the navigator looks at him and says, "You're going across, we're all going across." And they made it.
650 American flying fortresses inflicted severe damage on German defenses along the invasion coast.
Max Blanchard, along with a few of his other co-workers, were wondering, what can we do to support the men and women who are fighting for us?
Hanford, they're doing something that wins the war, but no one really knew what Hanford was doing. They just knew it was involved in the war effort. And so you could see the appeal of a campaign like Give a Day's Pay.
It's so astonishing because of the pride Dad had in that plane and understanding that people, hardworking people, paid for that.
So they always felt this was not their plane, it wasn't the government's, it belonged to the people of Hanford.
This is the people's plane. Like, this isn't our plane, this isn't your plane. Like, this was a gift. It lives on, you know, there's just something that's timeless about the day's pay. Report of the activities of our bomber. We recently received the desired information and are pleased and proud of the part our bomber has taken in its functions so far carried on. Keep pitching. Which I just love, like, how clearly ownership is being claimed, right? Of, you know, our bomber.
In a sense, it is more than the story of a military operation. These planes, high in the skies over Germany, were a symbol of the unshakable unity of the Allies in their determination to fight together until victory and peace had been achieved.
One of the most well-known parts of the Hanford site was the Hanford construction camp. Hanford is, of course, one of the 3 sites of the Manhattan Project. Deliberately misleading name. You wouldn't want to call it the secret atomic bomb project. And the 3 sites are Oak Ridge, Los Alamos, and then Hanford, Washington. There was housing for about 46,000 people at the construction camp. And that was barrack-style housing, hutments, and trailers. Actually, the world's largest trailer court at the time.
Yeah, life for them, especially in the early stages, was a little bit rough. Definitely a lot of wind they had to deal with and heat early on. They just knew it was a construction project. The handout was given to them in March of '43. It's an important war project, and outline what their expectations were for safety and also to not talk. And during the interview, they were also told that if they were to speak about the project, that there were hefty fines and possible prison sentences. So, for the most part, the men didn't talk.
You know, they all know it's some kind of...
June 2nd, 1944. On this day, 650 American flying fortresses inflicted severe damage on German defenses along the invasion coast. Farther north, 300 American liberators
When it happened, of course, it hit the news and it hit the Sage Sentinel that American forces had finally made inroads into Fortress Europe. Max Blanchard, along with a few of his other co-workers, were wondering, what can we do to support the men and women who are fighting for us? So the request was made out to the War Department, what should we purchase? The answer came back fairly quickly, a B-17.
So Max Blanchard was an employee of the Hanford Engineering Works. Seeing the success of D-Day, but realizing the long struggle that Allied troops would have in retaking continental Europe, they wanted to do something to support the war.
Because when they come from other projects, other DuPont projects or Remington Arms projects, they knew they were making bullets, bombs, whatever. It was for the war effort. They knew they were making tanks or whatever the material was needed. Here, they're just eating sand and drinking beer and eating as much as they can at the mess halls.
And of course, all throughout the war, there had been war bond drives where celebrities and others had, extolled the public to give money to buy war bonds. But that can feel really abstract.
So this idea of buying this airplane was a real boost. It was a morale booster because it's like, now we're doing something.
Like I said before, no one really knew what Hanford was doing. They just knew it was involved in the war effort. And so you could see the appeal of a campaign like give a day's pay to purchase a bomber, because that bomber could then be that kind of manifestation.
Now they felt they were making a difference.
They solicited ideas and they came up with this idea of day's pay.
Colonel Mathias loved the idea, continued to move forward with it. Posters were put up around the construction camp as well as the city of Richland, asking people to donate a day's pay, and so that was the decision.
And one interesting thing about the campaign, and one thing also to tie people to this campaign, was they basically gave shares, like stock shares, like paper certificates. When you gave the day's pay, you got your share of the day's pay campaign. You basically got a stock in that plane. So another way to physically tie people to that. And this was a special plane. Certainly to the people at Hanford, it was a special plane. In July 1944, a transport crew picked the plane up at the Boeing factory and flew it over to the Hanford Construction Camp airfield. There was a big ceremony. Thousands of people attended, school children, kids that were at the Hanford Construction Camp. People were so proud to see it. Thousands of people attended. It was July, of course, in the Tri-Cities area is a scorching month.
It was hot. You can see it in the faces of the people. If the camera resolution was much better, you could probably see the beads of sweat coming off their foreheads up underneath their hard hats and hats. But Katie Bell Harris was, who had lost a son earlier, was also a B-17 crewman, and she was chosen to be the one to christen the day's pay, and it was on the number 4 engine boss.
It was thousands of people attended to see the ceremony, and so Max Blanchard really was thousands of people attended to see the ceremony. And so Max Blanchard really hit upon, this really great idea, right, of really connecting people in Hanford to the specific war aim.
And then afterwards, the band played, and the crowd all sang the Day's Pay song, and the 3-member ferry crew fired it up, took off, swung back over the top of the airfield, dipped its wings 3 times, and headed on its way.
My dad was actually, when he got out of high school, he went to Boeing. He worked at Boeing for 3 years and then was drafted into the Army. And they were losing so many pilots and gunners that they started opening up to anybody that could pass an aptitude test could switch over to the Army Air Corps. My dad still had to keep doing his infantry training. He was burning up a set of batteries every week, studying all night. He'd pull his army blanket over and he would study for this aptitude test. And when he took the test, there was 800 and some people took that test, and he finished number. And when he took the test, there was 800 and some people took that test, and he finished number 3.
Robert Emdale, the co-pilot, he's from Texas. He was working in a pipe plant before he joined the Army. He joined the Army in 1944, and his wife and their one son, she purchased a trailer, hitched it up to the car, and wherever he was transferred to, she took that trailer to every spot in the United States where they had different training. But what's interesting is the Neal family also knew the Purcell family. Matter of fact, when Purcell's other brother joined the military, they were kind of torn because the one son, Archie Purcell, went to the Army Air Corps, so they had to make a decision, which son do we follow? And the dad still had to stay home and work, so the mom went to California, where the other son was stationed. So they go to Seymour Deutsch. Red was his nickname. He's from Brooklyn, New York, and joined and became a navigator. Red was the fellow who kept the men together in a lot of ways. Red was the fellow who kept the men together in a lot of ways through some difficult times because of his religious affiliation. They looked up to him because he was kind of like this wise old soul of what, 20? Then we have to go to the waist gunner. That's Edwin, and that love was it's unique for men like that to endure situations that none of us alive now could even begin to imagine. And of course, now they have the radio man, Alan Cohen. He's a Pennsylvania guy. His family was in the jewelry business, and he joined the Army Air Corps, and he tried to become a pilot. But now these are his son's words when they were doing flights in Gowan. He's bringing the B-24 in, and it came down so hard it snapped off the front wheel. And the instructor turned to him and says, "You will never fly a B-24, ever." And so he became the radio man. Those are his son's words, not mine.
First plane my dad drew over there was a B-24 Liberator with the nose paint of Shoo Shoo Baby. He flew that 12 full missions. A 13th mission, they took off and the generator quit. They couldn't make the generator run. So they didn't have the heated muffs, they didn't have anything for the gun sights, wouldn't have power for the radio. So they had to turn around and go back. They got penalized. That mission didn't count. And so the next 13th mission he drew Hanford's plane, day's pay. And of course, everybody, 13th mission the first time came off not so good. What's the second 13th mission going to be like? And they flew that day, and I virtually no flak, no fighters, very easy mission. That plane could almost fly itself. He said it was so easy to fly. The B-24 Liberator, he said, was a cumbersome plane, didn't fly as good. He said the B-17G flew almost. Sometimes they got fighter escorts, sometimes they didn't. The P-51 Mustangs, they really liked it when they got them for fighter escort, because if the Germans seen that they had 51s with them, they wouldn't come up after them. The P-51 pilots realized this, so when they got close to the bomb site, they would hang high and right, way behind the bomb group, and wait for them to send the Messerschmitts up after them, and then the 51s would go after the Messerschmitts.
While they are still climbing, the fighters stay in close. Then it's wide open. The throttles are blasted forward as the combat begins.
Dad says occasionally you kind of felt like he was a piece of steak, put out there for some bait.
After all the bombs are away, the forts and libs must fight their way home again. That's not easy because many of them are cripples now. Look at that fort's tail. A 20mm chewed it off. Now is when pressure groups speed into the battle to help their big friends get back to Britain.
It proved itself to be a very sturdy, dependable high-altitude bomber that could survive a fair amount of enemy fire of flak interior. Of course, it being a higher altitude plane did pose its own challenges. Bombing from a higher altitude is generally much less effective than bombing at a lower altitude, so there was there was a lot of extra training that had to go in, and just some of those campaigns just missed their targets. But it was generally considered to be a more rugged and especially more dependable plane. Seems from the airmen that flew them in that they had the B-17 was their preferred plane.
It's hammer, hammer, hammer every mile.
And he was talking about Hanford employees paying that, because he had so much appreciation knowing that these people volunteered to pay for this plane.
They were completely enamored of the idea that a group of people they had no idea that were supporting them so valiantly by giving up a hard-earned days, hard-earned work to purchase a plane. So they always felt this was not their plane. It wasn't the government's. It belonged to the people of Hanford.
You know, that plane was so important to that crew. Arliss and the other crew members were so proud of flying that plane specifically because of the connection that it had, because they knew that people had specifically given that plane, and they took really great care of it. You know, the plane did not get shot down.
One of the missions, Dad had almost all the fuel cells in the plane shot out. They were trying to get back to England, and they had one engine running. My dad told everybody to get their parachutes on and bail out. Everybody gets their parachutes on, they walk up, they hand the parachute to my dad. My dad said, "I'm taking it across." He didn't want their plane to go in the drink. He was willing to basically die, try to make sure that plane got home, because he appreciated how much people paid for that plane. Not the government bought that plane, the workers at Hanford Energy Group. So the navigator looks at him and says, "You're going across, we're all going across." And they made it.
The friendly coast of England slips by below. It doesn't look like much now, but in a few hours when you come back, if you...
Appreciation he had for that. One mission, his bombardier got up off his chair, walked up to my dad to borrow a Lucky Strike cigarette from him, lights it up, goes back to sit down, and there was a hole blowed through his bombardier's chair, a piece of shrapnel.
There are the black smudges of the flak that come up from the aircraftmen's below.
And every time one of those shells explode, they left a great big black cloud. And one of the waist gunners said at one time, he said he swore he could have jumped out of the plane and walked across the smoke because it was so heavy. One mission Dad was talking about, flying along, and the plane was actually pulsating as the shrapnel bombs was going off. And so he motions to the other planes that he could see to go up 10 feet. They raised 10 feet in elevation, and the plane quit pulsating. The ball turret on the bottom could be, you could climb into it and out of it from the plane. But if it got damaged and you couldn't roll the ball over to get your door up, they would turn all the bolts. They could actually unbolt that ball turret and drop it off. And then the ball turret gunner is on his own to get out of it and get his parachute deployed. Dad's ball turret gunner went out there one night with...
Drastically. Small things meant nothing. I just got back from a 6-hour tour, 5 hours on oxygen, minus 47 degrees. I've been shot at. I watch other airplanes go down in flames. And you come back and then just you think about that. That's on your mind. And so your way of thinking and doing things changes drastically. We deal with the big things as they come, and we learn from it, and we move on. And I think that's day before or behind them, and think about the upcoming mission. That's what the crewmen gave up. They definitely gave up their innocence.
Bomber crews form tight bonds, right? When you're going up in those things, doing those daylight or night bombing raids, you're putting, you're not knowing if you're going to come back. People form close bonds under those circumstances, but the day's pay crew seem to kind of go a little bit above and beyond that, because also some of them were in contact with people from Hanford. We have Christmas cards and letters from Hanford Construction Camp employees that they would write to the crew and back and forth. And I think that bond too was unique for the day's pay. I mean, they loved that plane.
At Christmas time, they would send over your care packages from your family. My dad got care packages from everybody at Hanford, him and his group, and they got a pallet load of stuff.
These bombs slash at the enemy's rear, destroy his lines of communication, wreck roads and railways, prevent any orderly retreat.
Of the plane, because they would always say this is the people's plane. Like, this isn't our plane, this isn't your plane. Like, this was a gift to us from these people who gave their pay. There's widows there, there's mothers who lost their kids donated to this plane. So it was a special plane. Hello there, I just finished reading the article in our project newspaper about the happenings of our plane, and the suggestion that we send Christmas greetings to you fellows. This seemed like a nice idea to me, and then I read further and discovered that the pilot of Days Pay was a fellow Kansian. My brother, my husband, and four-brother of Days Pay was a fellow Kansian. My brother, my husband, and four brother-in-laws are in the service overseas. My brother is a Marine in the South Pacific. My husband's whereabouts are unknown, and the others are in India, England, Alaska, and France. So you see that our family is quite scattered. I will not bore you with any more ramblings, but want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas wherever you might be. Lieutenant Bill Dennison, P-38 pilot, who was killed just a year ago.
And now a snaky string of lightnings moves into the battle. They are the fighters that cover the bombers on deepest penetrations into Germany.
Now, take care of Days Pay. We worked hard to get it on the way to you. So don't let her down. We won't let you down.
Just seeing those Christmas cards is really interesting because of the level of camaraderie that's there, the level of kind of like plain speaking, and really like how Hanford employees, I mean, the crew was very reverent to the plane and people, but also the tone you get from those cards is
Back at the base, flares are used to help guide the planes in.
My dad procured a few things out of the plane, and he was ashamed by it later, but the altimeter, his earphones, he had them, but the altimeter, we took my mother-in-law to the mountains 2 years ago for her 75th birthday, and if you had the barometric pressure, an altimeter built in 1942 still kept perfect spot-on altitude. Right towards the end, when he was about to pass on, the cancer pretty much had him. He started trying to find that plane. And my sister went with him a time or two down to the Phoenix scrapyard, and he would spend a week at a time going through that scrapyard, through plane by plane by plane, trying to find pieces of Days Pay. And he died not knowing what happened to it. On my dad's tombstone, Dad was so proud of Days Pay and everything it meant to him that he told my mom they'd like to have Days Pay put on his headstone. And it is so precise, you can even read the Days Pay emblem on it.
Discussing things with Thelma Weiniger, she said she was so thankful that Days Pay was a lucky plane because it brought her husband.
We're thankful for their children and their continued efforts to raise good families. It's a lucky plane. So, R.S. Weiniger returned back to Tribune, Kansas, and he'd had several offers to fly commercial out of Florida. And his wife responded, "No, you're done flying, we're going to farm." So that was the end of Arliss's flying career. So then we move on to Robert Neal. He came back from England and went to his home state of Texas being ranching. And he worked in the ranch until about 1954, and he suffered a heart attack, so he needed to reduce his workload. So he became a bank cashier. By the time he got close to retirement, he was a major shareholder in the bank, which turned out to be a nice, tidy sum for him and his wife to retire on. His hard work and dedication to family and country is what he impressed upon his family, and when you speak to them, that's what you get. Now, Seymour, or Red Deutsch, he came back, obviously in 45, went back to Brooklyn, New York, and became involved and married his childhood sweetheart. He stayed in the military. He was assigned to 2 different airfields in Texas for 6 months, where he was still navigating and flying B-29s. He did that for a period of time. He was honorary released in October 45, and he remained an officer in the Reserve Corps through the 50s. He ran for a number of years and finally sold it in 1982. And the family, him and his wife, traveled frequently while the son stayed home and ran the service station business. They went to places like Australia. They went to Alaska. And how they financed that was delivering newspapers together as husband and wife. He's one of the few remaining people who received an award from the government of France in his participation in D-Day. Tail gunner Chester Pierges. He returned back home to Lorain, Ohio, and went to work for the American Crucible Products in their foundry. He was there for 38 years to support his wife and children, and he never complained. Everything was about family. He never bought things for himself. He'd come home every Friday, put the check on the table for his wife to cash. His son says he was Jimmy Stewart, Red Skelton, and Andy Griffith all rolled up into one. His sons came to visit him in the foundry. He says, "Man, it was hot, sweaty, oily, stinky." And he's tell his children, "Don't ever do this. Get an education." All of his children have 2 degrees and are very successful. And of course, Alan Cohen, he returned to Pennsylvania, went to work in the family jewelry business. Did that for a period of time, and then he switched careers and decided to become a car salesman. He sold Pontiacs. In 55 or 56, he went and bought his own Rambler dealership and kept that till 1966. And then Rambler went away, and he switched to Dodge in 67 until 70, and then switched again from 70 to 79 as a Ford dealer. Someone in the company had embezzled, and they lost the business. So he went to work for the local Mercedes dealership, became the oldest salesman in the Mercedes dealerships in the United States. Talking with his son earlier today, his dad always taught us, is do the right thing no matter how hard it is. And the children are very proud of their parents. They didn't.
So what a successful campaign, where people are still following it. And it's really interesting to see how the community continues to embrace. It shows the enduring appeal of the people in this story, that we have, the day's pay has been a symbol for Richland High School. The day's pay has a book on it. The day's pay is the name of a IPA at bombing range. The day's pay is now the police badge symbol in the city of Richland, right? It lives on. There's just something that's timeless about the day's pay, and really, that shows what people can do when they come together. And we need good stories like that, right? Where people come together for the greater good.
You know what? I like Richland. Dog Doogity, no doubt. Play on, Richland. Play on, Richland. Yo, your dog just dropped a deuce. Doggy, get down, good dog. Baby, gotta walk her through Howard A. And all around our town, cover much ground. She gonna walk it from Leslie in the sun, it's a good day. Each and every day, it's the our way. A girl and a dog, they were fine. Wow. Until they left the dookie, that's a crime. From the north side to the south side, it's a good day to take a trail ride. Keep your doggy on a leash with care. You know the trails are there to share. We gotta keep it fair. I noticed that day, doggy wasn't holding nothing back. Doggy, when you do your do, I pick it up for you. Can I get down so I can? I like the way you walk it, dog doogity. You got to bag it up. I like the way you walk it, dog doogity. We got to bag it up. Dog doogity. We got to bag it up. I like the way you walk it, dog doogity. You got to bag it up. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, let's keep it clean. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, you know we love our city. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, we got to keep it clean. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, 'cause we love our city. I like the way you walk it, dog doogity. You got to bag it up now. I like the way you walk it, dog doogity. We got to bag it up. I like the way you walk it, dog doogity. We got to bag it up. I like the way you walk it, dog doogity. You got to bag it up.
Doing is barbell stuff. I want to make sure that you're stretching your lats. You're going to be stretching your wrists, making sure that you're able to catch that barbell here in the front rack and also press overhead. Good.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Explore Richland. I'm your host, Mark Ingham. Well, as we settle into the new year, we hope you've been able to keep your resolutions. Now, if your resolution was to be a healthier version of yourself in 2025, we're at a location that can help you achieve just that. Richland Strength has been in Richland for about a year, and they are here to help you set goals, prioritize yourself, and turn resolutions into reality. Well, it's now my pleasure to welcome Richland Strength owner Chris Sandell to the program. Chris, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. We're excited to talk to you and learn more about your business here. But let's start off by just sharing a little bit about yourself and how did you get involved in the fitness industry?
Okay, my name is Chris Sandell. I moved here from Seattle about eight or 9 years ago. Originally, our gym was, so we were over there for about 6.5 years. Me personally, I've been in the fitness industry for about 9, 10 years, coaching for a few years before, and then decided to open my own business.
Awesome. And you mentioned that the previous gym in West Richland. You know, what excited you to move cities and move here to Richland?
So back in West Richland, we had a small studio. It was about 1,700 square feet. And it was just time to mature into a bigger business. So we've moved to centrally located location for Tri-Cities, and we tripled in size, so bigger studio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, near the river, near the parkway, and also close to Cadillac, all great places to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, part of the idea was that this is your third place. So you have your home, you have your work, and then you have your third place where you want to meet friends and sort of get your exercise in. I like this location. Like you said, we're right down the road from the river, but there's also lots of businesses and other stuff to do locally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great location, a great spot to be in. And you know, many of us in Richland are familiar with, you know, the traditional gyms. And I wanted to ask you, like, what makes your gym unique amongst those ones?
Starting position, 1 muscle clean. Starting position, 1 power clean. CrossFit gyms is like a class-based gym. You're gonna get coached on movement, technique, and also the program will be structured for you. It's kind of the halfway point between having a personal trainer and then sort of the free-for-all, trying to figure out how to do it all on your own. As a community-style gym, there's a bit more accountability, so whether it's from the staff, the coaches, the owners, or just the friends that you build and the people that are struggling in the workouts right next to you. So helping you stay motivated is something that's just sort of given in this style of gym.
I wanted to have you talk about the programming that you do here at Richland Strength, and just kind of talk about a little about some of the workouts that we do here.
Great, good question. So we are primarily a CrossFit gym, so our programming is CrossFit. We do lots of barbell stuff, gymnastics, conditioning. It's all set up for us week by week, and we focus on different strengths through different cycles. Also, as we transition to our Richland location, we're focusing more on our Olympic weightlifting too. We are the only gym here in town that has a Olympic weightlifting program.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you a question as simple as, is CrossFit for everyone? And my thought there was, I think gyms can be intimidating for people, or maybe your age or your current fitness status. All those things can be intimidating. And so, do you feel like CrossFit is for everyone?
I would say it is for everyone. I want to go a little bit lower on the weight so you're going to be able to be more successful on that jerk portion.
Is it what we just did?
It's what you just did.
Okay, so I still have to do the 2.
But you're going to be AMRAPing this one, so as many reps as you possibly can.
Okay.
We have athletes as young as 13 years old, and then as old as 71, 74 years old. So I would definitely say CrossFit is for everyone. It's just about sort of finding that discomfort and being able to push yourself through uncomfortable situations. Everybody gets a custom workout each time that they're in class. Let's push 8 calories.
8? Okay.
8 to 9 calories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you offer any introduction classes, any training, and how can people try this out?
Here in January, we're starting January 13th. Actually, our on-ramp program. On-ramp is a group class structure of intro to CrossFit. So over the 3 weeks, twice a week on Mondays and Wednesday evenings, we're going to go over everything that you need to be successful in our group classes. Starting out with squatting and just sort of figuring out how to move your body, to more technical stuff, snatches, cleans, jerks, etc. Another way that we bring people in, if that schedule doesn't work for them, is through personal training sessions. So we meet with myself or one of the trainers, and we go through between 1 to 5 personal training sessions, depending on their background, how many sessions they need, and then getting them ready for regular group classes. Come on, guys, pick those bars up, AMRAP, clean and jerk.
Personally, why do you love CrossFit so much? Why do you love fitness so much?
CrossFit, it's really been the main fitness modality that I started back in 2011. And as I've changed focuses to Olympic weightlifting, it still is possibly the most fun working out that I've had. And in terms of giving that to other people, I think that health and wellness is really important, especially nowadays. So doing what I can do in terms of giving, I'd like to continue to provide that opportunity for other people to potentially find the spark and the love for CrossFit and fitness that I did back then.
Perfect. Well said. Chris, thanks for hopping on the program and talking to us about Richland Strength, the CrossFit gym here in Richland. And of course, if you would like any more information on Richland Strength, you can find them online at the link below, or just stop on by. They're located at 1022 Lee Boulevard. Now, if you would like more information on anything happening in the city of Richland, visit us at our webpage at the link below. And don't forget, we are where you are. Find the city of Richland on all the popular social media platforms.
Pull that bar off the ground, let's go. Get another one.
Set your goals, prioritize you, and turn your resolutions into reality.
Anybody coming in tomorrow?
I'm Mark Ingham. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Explore Richland. Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Explore Richland. I'm your host, Mark Ingham. Well, it's no secret that Richland is widely considered a mecca for scientific research and technology. Companies like Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, Energy Northwest, and Battelle come to mind. But back in 2016, another scientific company made worldwide headlines with their first detection of gravitation. Welcome to LIGO. And gracious enough to join us today is LIGO's Education and Outreach Lead, Amber Strunk. Amber, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good to have you.
And I'd have to say we made it, but I'm going to guess that you could sense me from probably a mile away, right?
I wish we could. The waves you create are a little too big for us to sense, but we're glad you made it out.
Perfect. And I'm excited to be here. This is the 4th time I've been out to LIGO, and I must say every time I come out here, I just have a sense of inspiration, a sense of, excitement, and also just a sense of awe coming out here. It's just so exciting to be here. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you to start off this conversation, if you could just share with us what LIGO's mission is and talk a little bit about the science taking place here.
Sure, yeah, we kind of have 2 fields, and that's why we have this beautiful center so the public can come, see what we do, and get excited about the science just like you did.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And I must say that this is an exciting place to come. It's exciting to learn about the technology, but it's also, it can be overwhelming for someone like me who's not an engineer. But one thing that LIGO does so well is you open yourself to the community and you have a great way of telling your story in a way that we can understand. And I just want to start with having you share what is in this exhibition space and some of the exhibits that are here.
Yeah, LIGO's been in the community since 1996, and since that time we've had an outreach program communicating what we do to the public because we think it's so important to take kind of science that seems pretty high level and bring it down to everything people can understand. This center itself is a wonderful way to do that. It was funded by the state of Washington and it's brand new. We just opened it in September of last year. And here you can both see some hardware exhibits about the center as well as some hands-on exhibits to really get a feel for the science that we do. When you walk, as well as some hands-on exhibits to really get a feel for the science that we do. When you walk in, one of the first things you notice is the Nobel Prize in Physics, which was awarded to 3 of our founders in 2017 for the very first historic detection of gravitational waves.
It's amazing. Now, right off the